This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That little montage there was some snippets from the latest tune that I've recorded, which we're going to hear at the end of the video in full. I apologise, this video is probably going to be a little bit longer than normally I like to do. I might even breach my own 20-minute rule for when it comes to doing videos, so I better not blether too much. I'll try and be brief as I can. Yeah, regular viewers will know that I'm currently in the process of putting a new album together. And before we go any further, I just want to say that I have no illusions about this, winning any Grammys or anything like that. I'm doing it for two reasons. First and foremost, it's just a nice little vanity project for me. And secondly, I've been doing a series of videos in recent weeks and months about, kind of songwriting techniques, little tips about how chord sequences work and all that sort of stuff. So I thought it would be a nice kind of follow-on from that series of videos, which are all linked in the description, by the way. I thought it'd be a nice little follow-on from that to show these techniques in action, or certainly how I use them anyway. Yes, so before we get any further, let's just take a little bit of a look at my reasoning behind how I'm putting the chord sequences together for like the verse and the chorus and the bridge and stuff like that, and then a little bit of an explanation about how I approach a melody.
Here is the explanation.
Right then, the verse chord sequence. When I was a kid, growing up in the 70s, there was one chord sequence that seemed to be everywhere. Lots of songs based upon it. I'm talking about that sort of minor chord with the descending bass line. A number of ways that can work, like the chromatically descending thing that you get in Stairway to Heaven and Hotel California, but there's also the one where it's sort of not quite doing it chromatically, where you get maybe a D minor going to a D minor 7 with a C bass note, and then dropping that C note down to a B, and you get essentially a D minor chord with a B in the bass. Things like I think Python Lee Jackson in A Broken Dream was pretty close to that chord sequence. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, obviously that came out in the 60s, but it's a chord sequence that I remember hearing as a kid. And even TV documentaries, I remember Monday nights there used to be a show on called World in Action, and the theme tune from that had that sort of descending bass line thing going on. So I thought I'd do something with that. So we have D minor going to a D minor over a C bass. Then if you place a B note under a D minor chord, you get this. And that's either a D minor with a B bass, or you can also call it a B half diminished. And that's when the noggin started jogging a little bit, and I thought, right, we have that chord going to an E7 to an A major. It's a lovely resolution, isn't it? That chord sequence crops up in Parisian Walkways just immediately before he goes into the bit. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to use that. So we have the B half diminished to E7, to A major, then maybe to a G, and then a D, D major. So we'll kind of flip the tonality a little bit. And then I thought, well, yeah, how do I get back to D minor? I'll use the old, what's it called? Crazy Little Thing Called Love kind of thing of that, the B flat to the C, which you can take it into a D chord or a D minor. Like that. So that's basically that. The chord sequence for the verse goes D minor to D minor over C to D minor over B, otherwise known as B half diminished, E7 into an A to a G to a D major, then B flat and C, taking us back round to the beginning again. For the chorus, that was relatively easy. I just thought, right, okay, that B flat and the C, essentially it's chords 4 and 5 from the key of F. So for the chorus, let's just go to an F major. Then, you know, just start playing around with, you know, obvious chord choices once you've settled on F as a place to land. So F to C, maybe to a B flat or G minor, the relative minor of B flat, and then F to C to G minor, then go to the B flat after it, then F to C to G minor to E flat. And then I'm starting to think now, okay, how do I get back to the D minor again? Well, I can do that same half diminished thing. Remember how we had B half diminished going to an E7, which will take us nicely to an A major, or nicely indeed to an A minor. Like that. Well, I'll use the same trick, but just transpose it into D minor. So instead of B half diminished E7 going to some sort of A, I used E half diminished to an A7 to a D minor. So the chorus is kind of F, C, G minor, then F, C, G minor to B flat, then F to C to G minor to E flat, then my E half diminished to A7 and back into D minor again for the arrival of the next verse. And that's basically the verse and the chorus chord sequences nailed on. And just needed something to do for a bridge there, and I thought, well, you know, apart from that fleeting appearance of the D major chord in the verse section where it briefly goes there, let's do an entire section sort of where D is the D major is where we're kind of centering things. It ended up not being doing that. I ended up going D to C to G and resolving onto a G major chord there, but the D was the sort of way into that. And again, that D is arriving from the E half diminished to the A7 into the D, C, G. And this section here I played using the blue Telecaster guitar, the vintage V75, in like an open G tuning, just to give it a little bit of that sort of Stonesy kind of swagger there. And that's pretty much the chord sequence for all the bits of the song. The verse, as I say, is that descending minor chord, bass line sort of thing. Chorus essentially just going from the you know, the key of D minor or a D minor tonality to its relative major, F major, and then going into sort of what started out as a D major kind of thing for the bridge section, which ended up, just as I was playing it, going gravitating more towards the G, but it's kind of kicking off on the D chord. So those three chord sequences are, you know, the sort of building blocks of the song, and then it's just a case of screwing them all together and coming up with a melody. Right, so how do we come up with a melody then? Well, much as I'd like to pretend that there's some secret sauce involved here, some gift that you have to be born with, the truth is that you can just craft a melody if you know what you're doing. And three things I suppose you need to know. What key you're in, and therefore what major scale is going to work over the top of that. Let's take a look at the chorus here, which we know is in the key of F, F, C, G minor and B flat. Only chords that sort of come from outside that realm are the E flat, that comes in as like a borrowed chord, and the A7, which is acting like a secondary dominant to take us back to the D minor again. Okay, but by and large you're in the key of F, which means an F major scale. And so that's one of the things you've got to know. What else do you need to know? Well, you need to know what chord you're playing over at any given time. And the third thing is what notes are in that chord. And it's just really a case of just joining the dots. Just choose a note from the first chord and use the scale to connect it to a note in the second chord. So for example, if we just run through a little bit of the chorus melody here. Let's look at that little passage there. C, D, E, F, A, G. Okay, well the first chord is an F. Okay, and that contains the C chord, the C note rather. And then we climb up the scale to the E note, which is in the C chord, which has arrived by then. So, and then that G note that it lands on there is obviously in the G minor chord. Okay, and then just take that same basic theme again. Any catchy melody will be catchy because it's got some degree of repetition in it. So I'm going to take that same idea again. And then you see I'm landing on that D note there, which is in the B flat chord, which has arrived at that point. And so on. So you just, you know, come up with a basic idea for the shape of the tune. Simple way to do that is just to put the backing track on and hum something. Just see what suggests itself to your ear as you're playing, and then just, you know, kind of nail that down onto some chord tones. And that's where I'll land on the E flat for the arrival of the E flat chord. Then that E half diminished chord, I just literally spell it out as an arpeggio. E, G, B flat, D. And then by then we're going to the A chord, or A7, which has a C sharp note in it. So something like that. And boom, you've got a melody, just spelling out the chord tones. You know, it takes a little bit of practice. Obviously, you've got to know your fretboard, but I've done videos about that. I've done videos on, you know, what notes are in any given chord, how to figure it out, all that sort of stuff. So just have a dig through my channel and search those videos out. I'll probably link to one or two in the description, because I've done loads of videos on this sort of stuff. I'll try and find some pertinent ones that explain this. But there you go. That is, you know, putting a melody together. I always come up with the chord sequence first, and then the melody just almost writes itself. You know, if you are a kind of singer, songwriter, strummy kind of guitar player, you know, you'll strum some chords and then you'll start singing a melody without really having to think too much about it a lot of the time. You know, even if the lyrics aren't there, you know, a tune will suggest itself. You really don't want to hear me sing, so I don't do that. But, you know, I can sort of have that same sort of instinct, if you like, on the guitar, and it's something, as I say, that you can work at and you can craft and you can just learn how to do. It's not something that you have to be blessed with or born with. It's a skill that you can learn, and well, there you go. Now you know what to do. Go away and have some fun with it. So hopefully that made some kind of sense. And as I say, I usually start off when I'm writing any tune by thinking in terms of 3 building blocks: a verse, a chorus, and a bridge. And once I've got those sorted, you know, I kind of map them out. This is the page from my notepad where I actually mapped out that entire song, and you can see that I grafted a little fingerstyle part onto the beginning. Nothing fancy, you'll hear it at the end. I use that as a little bit of a breakdown in the middle of the song there, just after the bridge, and then it sort of goes as a fade out ending as well. The one thing I will say is that that little map there is all that I start off with when I'm putting the tune together. I'm not thinking about all of the finer details and the licks that I'm going to play in the solo and all of the twiddly-dee kind of, you know, filigree that will go around stuff. I just like to get the basics down first, and then all of those little twiddly bits and add-ons and decorative touches, they all just seem to sort of evolve as I play. You know, and I'll take maybe 2 or 3 takes at something, and then, okay, yeah, so I like a bit of that one and I like a bit of that one. Let's combine them both together, comp a take together, and then learn it and get it to the point where it feels natural to play. You know, that sort of composite part, and then I can maybe improvise around that a little bit. You do get to a point when you're doing that where hopefully the tune or the solo or whatever it is that you're doing just tells you when it's finished. You kind of leave me alone. I don't need any more fancy bits and pieces. I've made mistakes like that in the past where I've gone too far, and you end up almost keeping the melody a secret from the listener, which is, you know, oh, I can shoehorn another fancy little lick in there, and you know, so yeah, just listen to that inner voice that tells you when it's finished. Or better still, you know, kind of just save the project, leave it, go away and do something else, come back and listen to it the next day, and let your kind of neutral ear, hopefully after having had a rest from it, tell you if it needs or anything else, or if it needs something just kind of stripping out of it a little bit. You know, serve the song, not your ego, when it comes to putting the kind of fancy twiddly bits and pieces in. So anyway, I've been blethering for long enough now. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but hopefully it won't be too much of a kind of blether fest. I think it's about time we heard what the final piece of music turned out like. I'll just mention before we go any further that there will, by the time this video goes live, be a full tab for the entire thing in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with that explanation you've just seen there, a backing track for you to play along with as well, and of course this clip that you're going to see now of me playing the entire piece. All of that is, as usual, up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description. As I'm sure you know by now, $3 or about £3 a month gets you access to all of these wonderful goodies and resources that go along with these YouTube videos. And of course, a massive, heartfelt, sincere, humongous thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are down in the description. It's because of the support of people like that I can spend time kind of putting these videos together. 5 videos and a live stream every week. It's because of the support that I get that I can devote the time to doing that. So thank you to everyone. And I'll leave you now with this little tune named after one of my dog's favourite treats, a brand of dog biscuits called Shapes. It inspired this tune. See you next time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, but above all, stay sane. Bye for now.